Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Sejanus, his fall, and we get to hear from Sejanus in Act 2, Scene 2 today. Now, Sejanus is not quite falling yet. He's actually maybe having a bit of a good day. He managed to seduce Livia away from Drusus. They're plotting to poison Drusus to get him out of the way, and now he has the ear of Tiberius, the emperor. Tiberius had sent for him because he wanted to talk about some stuff, and the stuff that they wanted to talk about is the fact that Tiberius is leery of the Agrippina group, which is the group that I've been referring to as the Peanut Gallery. It's Silius and Sabinus and Aruntius and that whole crew. So he's leery of them. He doesn't really trust them. And yesterday's monologue, or in yesterday's video, Sejanus was spending a fair amount of time convincing Tiberius that he's the emperor. He needs to act with force. He needs to take the first step. He needs to strike first. He can't necessarily just wait for something to happen. He needs to make sure that everything's in place, and he can't worry about whether or not people like him as he's trying to rule, or he's going to quickly be overthrown. So at the end of yesterday's video, we had Tiberius being like, okay, well, I guess I can't really arrest them just for being Germanicus's kids, because now he's talking about Germanicus's kids, Agrippina's sons. He's like, I can't really arrest them just for existing. And Sejanus was like, okay, just sit around and wait for them to kill you, and then you can have them arrested. And Tiberius is like, well, that doesn't seem like a really great answer. Do you think that they're actually planning to try to kill me? And Sejanus says, sir, thunder speaks not till it hit. Be not secure. None swiftlier are oppressed than they whom confidence betrays to rest. Let not your daring make your danger such. All power is to be feared where 'tis too much. The youths are of themselves hot, violent, full of great thought. And that male-spirited dame, their mother, slacks no means to put them on by large allowance, popular presentings, increase of train and state, suing for titles, hath them commended with like prayers, like vows, to the same gods with Caesar. Days and nights she spends in banquets and ambitious feasts for the nobility, where Caius Silius, Titius Sabinus, old Aruntius, Asinius Gaius, Furnius, Regulus, and others of that discontented list are the prime guests. There and to these she tells whose niece she was, whose daughter, and whose wife. And then must they compare her with Augusta. Aye, and prefer her too, commend her form, extol her fruitfulness, at which a shower falls for the memory of Germanicus, which they blow over straight with windy praise and puffing hopes of her aspiring sons, who, with these hourly ticklings, grow so pleased and wantonly conceited of themselves, as now they stick not to believe they're such as these do give them out, and would be thought more than competitors, immediate heirs, whilst to their thirst of rule they win the rout. That's still the friend of novelty, with hope of future freedom, which on every change that greedily, though emptily, expects. Caesar, 'tis age in all things breeds neglect, and princes that will keep old dignity must not admit two youthful heirs stand by, not their own issue, but so darkly set as shadows are in picture to give height and luster to themselves. So, oh my goodness, Sejanus, he's up there with Iago or Aaron. Like, he is a master of manipulation. He's a master of spinning the tale so that it is whatever he wants it to be. He starts out by saying, you know, maybe they're plotting to kill you, maybe they're not, but we won't know until they try it. The same as you don't know a lightning bolt is going to come until it comes. You can't predict that sort of thing. And he's like, anybody that gets too powerful should be afraid and should be feared. So you need to be on the alert. You need to be on the ready all the time. He's like, if it was just Agrippina's sons, Germanicus's sons, that would be one thing. But Agrippina herself is also talking them up. She goes out all the time. She gives them everything that they want. But she also goes to like all these dinners and all these banquets and stuff like that with Silius, Sabinus, Aruntius, and he names a whole bunch of the rest of them. And she like plays on their sympathies. She tells them that she was Germanicus' wife and that now she's his widow. So they feel really bad for her and everybody cries, but then they try to spin it around and make it happy again and be like, oh no, but it's fine because your children will do well. Like your children will follow in your husband's footsteps. So all of that is good. And the fact that these boys are talked about in this respect so much by these people is making the boys themselves conceited to the point where they think they should be ruling now. Not that they like are in line for it, but they feel like they should be the ones in power. And he ends this monologue by saying like, you can't keep these guys around that are ready to just like take over for you. They are, they're not your kids, but they're right there in the background, in the shadows, ready to jump in and take over like at any moment. So this is a beautiful bit of manipulation, and it's interesting. A couple of times he jumps in and out of that rhyme scheme that we saw. Well, we didn't actually see it, but it exists a little bit earlier in the scene where he throws in the rhymes to like make things a little bit of a mockery, and he's mocking them. He's mocking what they want to do, but he's also trying to instill in Tiberius the fear that he's going to be overthrown. He needs to do something about Germanicus's kids and Agrippina and everybody that follows and believes in her. So Tiberius is like, well, I'll do my best to like knock them down and maybe take away some of their titles and things like that. I'll help tarnish their reputation a bit. And Sejanus is like, great, how you gonna do that? And Tiberius is like, well, I will lock them up. And Sejanus is going to have some thoughts on that suggestion, which we will hear in tomorrow's monologue. So I'll see you then. Mwah.